Hello friends, we'll be discussing the concept of cost function now. Now, what exactly cost function means, or what are the details that we need to understand when we have to prepare about cost function, is something that we'll be understanding. This is a very small concept for you guys to understand. So let's pay attention to it and figure out how exactly we are going to deal with cost concept now. Now, a firm cost function is the functional relationship. It's a functional relationship between the output and its cost. Now, this cost function completely relates to, or rather it is related to the relationship between the output and the cost related to the output. So whatever products you produce and the cost related to that product, so cost of production and the product itself, this gives you the cost function. Now we're completely talking about cost function here. That means in accounting, if we have to discuss that, we have raw materials, we have semi-finished goods, and we have finished goods. So the process until from raw material till finished goods here, this process is known as cost of production. Now this cost of production, if you manage, or rather if you take that into consideration with the product itself, that will give you the cost function here. Now let us understand some different meanings of it. Cost function is determined by the production function of a firm and the prices it pays for different inputs. Now let me just rub this so that I can give you a better explanation on this part, exactly what it is related to. Now when you're talking about cost function, you need to understand few things. There are inputs. You use these inputs for giving out outputs. Inputs can be called as 1, 2, 3. These three inputs are required to give out this output. That means the final product here. Input 1 will be of different cost, input 2 will be of different cost, input 3 will be of different cost. The quantity here that is required will be, input 1 will require, like we require raw material here. Raw material can be of different sizes, different quantities, and different qualities as well. Qualities will take out the price, quantities will take out the number of products that we have to produce. So input 1 is required in terms of 10 quantities, input 2 is required only 2, input 3 is required only 5. So here, if the cost of every such input is differentiating, that means the total cost of the product will differentiate. Hence, whenever we are selecting the inputs, we need to make sure that whatever inputs we are selecting, they minimize the cost and they give out the proper quality as well. So this is what you need to understand. Now, hence, the theory of production forms the basis of theory of cost. Whatever theory of production we prepare, it forms the theory of cost. So whatever production cost that we take, that gives you the exact cost here of the product. Now, it is so because the rate of change in the production with the change in the input determines the rate of change in the production cost. It's very simple to understand. These are 5 inputs. Okay, let us take this into example. These are 5 inputs that you have with you, correct? Now, this is the final product. Now, this final product can be prepared by using all these 5 inputs. If the price of any input changes, if the price of any input of these 5 input changes, will the product price here change or not? Of course, it will change. Why? Is because earlier, if everything used to get for 5 rupees each, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 25 rupees is the production cost here, plus minus some additional details that we can put it. So let's take 30 rupees as a production cost. Now, if this 5 rupees is changed to 10 rupees, now here, earlier it was 30 rupees, now it has gone up by 5 rupees, that is 35. Will the price of the product change? It will. Now, if 2 products are 20 rupees each, okay, this 20, this 20, 40 here, this 5, 5 and 5, 15, that comes to 55. The product price has shot from 30 to 55, 25 rupees change here. Hence, the product price here, the output price here will change. So this is the definition that you need to think of. Theory of production will give you the theory of cost here. It implies that the change in total, marginal and average cost depends on what law of production is in operation. It also implies that the change in production, the change in total, marginal and average, or rather revenue of that specific product, will depend on how much cost you are incurring in the production of that specific goods, or rather those services. Now it means the cost function is the derived function. Cost function is basically derived. It is derived from the production process itself. Hence, therefore, the theory of production will be examined in the theory or the framework of theory of production. theory of production will be determined, or rather will be the determinant factor for theory of cost. So if you have to determine how theory of cost has been derived, you need to understand how production is being done here. Is the production efficient enough to handle, or rather to minimize the cost? Only then it will help you in reducing the cost of the product and making more margin of profit here. Now, like production, cost of a firm will also be discussed in under two types of production functions. Like production, where we have different functions here, cost of a function, or rather cost of a product, will be also determined with two functions. Now what are those? One is short run costs, second is the long run cost. So whatever short run cost and long run cost you have to take into consideration, these are the things that you have to look into or look after whenever it comes to the production function or the cost function related to it. So these are the basic things that you need to understand when it comes to short run cost and long run cost. After this, we'll be studying the basic details of what exactly short run cost is, what exactly long run cost is. So right now, when we have to talk about cost functions, there are two cost functions that you have learned about. One is short run cost, second is long run cost. So this is all for the video that we can explain it to you when it comes to the cost function of any specific product, or rather converting raw material into a fixed product and related to the production and cost theory of it. So that's all for the video. Thank you.